Okay, so this is the home page of Microsoft Azure Cloud. So you can see from here you can create many things like virtual machine, storage account, virtual network, SQL database, and if you can see, uh, there are a lot more services like general services, compute services, networking services, storage services, and many more. So if you want to explore, you can use your account and play around it. Okay, so I'll just show you this compute thing. In compute, you have 26 services, virtual machine skill set, function app, app services. So when you mouse over it, you will see like there is a description like what each and every service is meant for. Okay, so cloud services, all the descriptions here, virtual machine images, disks, disk means like our hard disks, host group, and in networking, you can see lot many things like CDN profile, expert rule. So as soon as you learn these things, you will be familiar with this. All the descriptions are here. So may I know if Anjali has joined?
Yes, Deepa, I've joined.
Okay, so we'll start now. So today's topic will be mostly on core Azure services, like I showed you in the screen, right? The dashboard. So all those services will cover. So what comes under module two? Uh, are Azure architectural components like regions and availability zones, subscriptions and resource group. And in core Azure resources, we'll see compute, networking, storage, and database I showed you in the dashboard. So let's see how is the core Azure architecture components look like. So these are the core Azure components, which are like region pairs, availability zones, Azure resources, resource groups, Azure Resource Manager, subscription, Azure Management Group, and all. So what are reasons? So in India, basically we divide our regions in four categories: South, North, East, and West. Similarly, Azure regions are divided into multiple regions around all over the world. So in the screen, as you can see the map, there are like these many Azure regions where Microsoft has deployed their data centers. So in South India, you can see it is in Hyderabad. In Central India, it is in Noida. In West India, it is in Mumbai. So similarly, you can see it is there in multiple parts of India, multiple parts of the world. And these regions are like growing day by day. Uh, it's like see announced regions are there. So you can see Spain Central, it is going to be coming soon. Poland Central coming soon. Israel Central coming soon. So it is like that. So regions are made up of one or more data centers in close proximity. Like within few kilometers, there will be data centers like from say 4 or 5 kilometers, the data centers will be located, and this group of data centers is called as a region. Uh, this Azure region provides flexibility and scale to reduce customer latency. Say if we have more data centers, then it will reduce the latency. That means the response time will be less. Preserves data residency with a comprehensive compliance offering. So it provides our data to be securely available, which will be following some compliance. So like everything is have following some rules. So this regions also will follow certain rules and our data will be secured. So as you can see in the slide, there are like more than 60 plus regions available within 140 countries. So it is having like a presence in 140 countries with 60 plus regions. What are region pairs? Like one or say there is one region and there should be one backup region for it, which is called as its region pair. So this is the list of region pairs like for North Central US and South Central US. This makes a region pair. Similarly, East US and West US makes a region pair. Southeast Asia and East Asia makes a region pair. So at least 300 miles of separation between the region pairs. So this is the criteria of two regions to become region pairs. Like there should be 300 miles of distance between both the region. Automatic replication for some services. Like as I said, if we provide two data centers for a service, then there will be very less response time. Similarly, there will be automatic replication of some services. Say, for example, we deployed one application in region 1, so automatically that same service will be deployed in region 2. Prioritized region recovery in event of outage. Outage means there is some issue and the data center is like out of work. So if there is a region pair, the second reason will come up and it will start working when the region one is down. Updates are rolled out sequentially to minimize downtime. See, like what happens is like some Windows update has come, and if we apply these updates to both the regions simultaneously together, then there might be chances like there is after update there is some restart request, and if both the regions are restarted, then there will be an issue of downtime. So what we do is we do the updates in sequential manner. Say updates happening in region one first. Once the update is done, then we are doing the update in the next region. Availability options. See if we increase the region, then there will be like improved SLA. SLA means uh, service level agreement. Service level agreement states that there will be very less downtime if we use multiple regions. So in this diagram, if you can see, when we host a single VM, the uptime is like 99.9%. But in same case, if we use multiple VMs, then the SLA increases to 99.9%. 99.9% means the overall downtime per month should be 4 minutes only. Only 4 minutes, there should be a downtime of any services or any data center. And this is the architecture of multi-region disaster recovery. Like how I explained yesterday regarding the disaster recovery, this is the architecture. Like if one region goes down, the second region will automatically go up. Regional protection within data residency boundaries. What are availability zone? Availability zone provides protection against downtime due to data center failure. So availability zone is combination of two or more data center which has the same replica of the data centers. So for an example, there is one data center and data center is made up of racks or hard disk like we have seen in our offices, like how data data centers are. So like one availability zone is like combination of one or two data centers. Similarly, if you mix more than one availability zone, it is called as a region. So this is like a data center. Uh, data center 0, data center 1, and data center 2. And combination of data centers is called as availability zone. And combination of availability zones is called as Azure region. Okay, so it provides protection against downtime due to data center failure. So if any of this data center fails, it can get the data from, it can be connected to any of the data center from availability zone 2. So availability zone can be within the same building or 1 or 2 kilometer apart. Okay, so the physically separate data centers within the same region. So they are located within the same regions. Each data center is equipped with the independent power, cooling, and networking. So like if you like as you know, if you want to operate any data center, it requires power and like cooling also. Like the devices makes heat, so we need to make them cool, and the networking devices to make it available over the internet. So these all requirements are independent for each of the data centers. So that if one data center the power is not there, the other data center is up and running. These data centers are connected through private fiber optic networks. Azure resources. So anything which we create inside Azure is called as Azure resources. Like if you want to create storage, virtual machine, or networking components that are available to build cloud solutions. So as I shown you in the dashboard, like virtual machine, storage accounts, network, SQL database, and all. So these are called as resources. And and all these resources, when created in a separate location, is called as resource group. For an example, if you want to create one application, so what things you will choose? You will choose one virtual machine, you will choose one database, you will choose one virtual network. So everything when you create, so you choose one resource group. So all the resources when reside within a single location, it is called as a resource group. So as we can go through the definition, a resource group is a container to manage and aggregate resources in a single unit. Resources can exist in only one resource group. It is not like you have created one VM, then it should be there in resource group 1 or resource group 2. So it should be available within one resource group. But resources can exist in different regions. I'll show you when I will show you the demo, you'll understand what I am saying here. Resources can be moved to different resource groups. So once it is created, we can move it. Once the resources are created within one resource group, we can change the resource group of any of the resources. Applications can utilize multiple resource group. Okay, so if you want to use like say VM from resource group 1 and database from resource group 2, you can club them. So let me just show you what I was saying. Uh, this is the this span we called as blade. Okay, so sometimes the question will ask like if you want to create something, which blade you should select. Okay, so I'll just show you all resources. Sorry, more services, and in compute, I'll show you a virtual machine. In that, I will click on create virtual machine. Okay, so it is asking me the subscription, like how we have Tata Sky, the Airtel DTH, everything. So for that, we need to select, we should have one subscription, right? So for using Azure services also, we also need some kind of subscription. So like when you create a free account with Microsoft Azure, you will get a free tier access. Okay, so here it is saying in which resource group you want to create this resource, this VM, in which resource group you want to create. When you mouse over into the information icon, you can see a resource group is collection of resources that share the same life cycle, permission, and policies. Okay, so now I don't have any resource group. So what I'll do is I create a new one. I'll simply give the resource group name as today is July 13th, 2021. Okay, so as soon as you see the naming conventions are correct, the green right icon will be populated. You need to just click on OK. Okay, so I am just showing virtual machine name. So I am giving demo July 13. Okay, and regions as I shown you like the world map. So you can select any of the regions from the list. Okay, so if you want to access it from India and you want it to be like it should respond faster, that means it should be uh, less latency, then you should select something which is in uh, nearer to India. So I am selecting Asia Pacific South India. Okay. So after that, availability options. As I said, I gave you an example of availability zone. So if you want to create any availability set, then we should use this option. Otherwise, you can select the availability zone, virtual machine scale set. So these all are the um, extra parameters which will give you a good SLA like 99.99. So for demo purpose, I'm not selecting anything. I'm just selecting no infrastructure required. From here, uh, if I want to select which machine I want to create, so Ubuntu is there, Red Hat is there. So these many images are available to be to created as a virtual machine. So I am just selecting Windows Server 2019 data center. Okay, so this is something else I will explain. What is Azure Spot instance? I will tell you. So what it is saying is this size is currently available in South India for this subscription, not available for. So that means it is not available. We need to change the subscription. So I'm just selecting something else like which was default one, US East. Okay, so this is available and it is just showing me if I select this kind of configuration. So what charges it will I should be like charged. So these all are the sizes, like how many virtual CPUs are there, how many RAM, GBs of RAM, data disks, max IOPS, input output performance per second. Okay, this IOPS means input output operations per second. So it is 32 maximum the input output operations, higher will be your performance. So storage is 60 GB. So we'll just use this one only as a default one. Okay. And if I want to like what username and password I want to give, I can give it here. Uh, I'm just giving as user one. These are reserved names, so it is showing as not included. So I'll just give user VM1. Okay, so it is accepted. And password I am giving something which I can remember. So if I give something like some passwords which are like easily guessable, so it will not support those. So this kind of also features available here. Values must be between 12 to 23. Okay, and what all ports we want to allow. So for remote desktop, the port 3389 should be enabled. And if we want to enable this like HTTP, if we want to deploy any of the applications, and um, so for that HTTP and HTTPS port should be enabled. Okay, so now we'll click on next. Which kind of disk you want? So it is saying premium SSD or standard SSD or standard HDD. So as I mentioned you yesterday, like we can have any kind of storage based on our requirement. Okay. Next is networking. So once we create uh, any of the resource, it will automatically create a virtual network. Okay, that we will see next, like how we can create a new virtual machine by ourselves. Otherwise, system will automatically create. Okay, this NIC network security group, all these settings are related to the networking. This we selected initially, so it is getting populated here. If you want to go through each and every tab, you can click on next. Otherwise, you can click on review and create. I'll just show you like what all options are available. These are just monitoring things. I'll just keep everything as by default. Advanced. So nothing is our requirement. Tags like it is like a key value pair. So you can search using the keyword and value kind of thing. So VM type is Windows. I can give. Okay. I think it is not acceptable VM OS type. This is also not acceptable. So, okay, for timing, I'm just leaving it. Next, review and create. So it is doing all our validations like what all things we are doing. So it is just validating if everything goes well, it will allow us to create. So if you can see, this VM is going to charge us rupees 13.5445 per hour. So if I want to use it for say some 1 hour, it is going to charge me rupees 13.5. And if I don't want to use it, I can just stop this VM and I will not be getting charged. Okay, I'll just click on create. So some processings are going on to create the virtual machine. See here, the name got populated as resource group as July 13, 2021. And now all the resources will be populated here. See, uh, this is virtual network. This is security group, network security group. This is IP address, like for every resources there should be some IP address. So this IP address is also one of the resources. So it is also created, and now the virtual machine is getting created. So you can see here it is still processing. So yeah, now I think it is done. It is completed. So when I go to the resource, you can see this is the virtual machine which we created, and its public IP is 20.102.82.45, and it is a part of July 13 this by this name virtual network. Okay, and this is the private IP address. Like if internally within the same resource group, if I want to access this virtual machine, I can directly use 10.0.0.4. Okay, so these all are the details which we selected. Availability and scaling, we haven't done anything. This is the disk type. Okay, so now what I will do is, see, you can connect to the virtual machine which we created via two options. Either you can click on connect and there will be one RDP file downloaded and you just click and log in. Otherwise, you just copy this IP address and click on MSTSC and provide the IP address. What username? User VM1 we created, right? So I'll just create it. User VM1. Password is. I'll just click on OK. So you can see within minutes, I just created one virtual machine and hardly it took like 5 minutes and one Windows machine is in front of me. So this is the benefit of using cloud. You can access it through from anywhere. You can see the time zone. It is like 10:59 a.m., which is not Indian time zone. Any doubts here till now? Are you able to hear me?
Yes,
Okay, okay, fine. So any doubts till now? I'm just shutting down this VM. It was just for a demo purpose. So when you go to home and click on all resources, you can see all the resources are populated here. Okay. And when you go home and you see like resource group, yeah, in the resource group, if you go, you can see there are two resource group. One is the July 13, which we created, and the other one is the network watcher resource group. It creates automatically. Okay, because we used East US as our zone region. Sorry. Okay, so now coming back to our presentation. So got what? So you got like what are resources, resource groups, and everything.
The one doubt here.
Yeah,
So it is creating public IP address, right? So is
right.
it possible to create a private IP?
It automatically creates a private IP, right? So if you go here and see the properties, this is the public IP address, and this is the private IP address. It creates it
Okay.
automatically. And yeah, it
Okay.
is like it is non-static IP. If you shut it down and again restart, the IP address will get changed. So for that, there is something called as static IP that I will show you in some next classes. Okay.
Okay.
So moving on to Azure Resource Manager. So Azure Resource Manager provides a management layer that enables you to create, update, delete resources in Azure subscription. So you saw me right, creating a virtual machine, uh, giving all the parameters and all those things. So it is called as Azure Resource Manager. So how you can utilize Azure Resource Manager is, first of all, you can use it through Azure portal, which I showed you. Second thing is Azure PowerShell, Azure command line interfaces, and REST clients. So these all uses SDKs to internally connect with the Azure Resource Manager based upon authentication. and you can create all the resources like data store, web app, virtual machine, and service management. So like this is like user interface for creating resources through Azure portal. You can also create using the Azure command line arguments and Azure PowerShell. So there are some commands using those you can create these resources as well. So everything which we create resources are because of using Azure Resource Manager. What are Azure subscription? An Azure subscription provides you with authenticated and authorized access to Azure accounts. Say for an example, I showed you my subscription uh, like I was authenticated using my username and password, and I was authorized because I paid some amount to get that Azure Pass. So using that, we can create resources in our Azure portal or Azure Resource Manager. So what are its features? Billing boundaries. It generates a separate billing reports and invoices for each subscription. So I can have multiple subscription tagged to my account. Say for example, for a dev, I use different subscription. For test, I use different subscription, and for production, I use different subscription. So for each and every subscription, I will get different bills. Okay, access control boundaries. So like in the subscription as well, you can provide access control, like who can access those Azure subscriptions. Like it's if it is a team, then there will be a group of users who will be accessing that subscription. So based on this access control boundary, you can restrict users activities like who is authenticated and authorized to use which subscription and what activity they can use. So I'll just show you like where you can see who can do what activities. So if I go to subscriptions, and in subscription I have this Azure Pass, and when I click on this Azure Pass, I can see access control, that is IAM. Okay, so here I can see my access level I can see, and I can add role assignment, and I can assign roles to other players so that they can also use this um, subscription to perform their activities. Explore the Azure portal. So how you can explore the Azure portal. So for that, you need to go to portal.azure.com and explore the home screen and click on all services and see what is available. As I showed, like what services are available, you can go and click here and see all the services. So if you click on all, you can see like all resources and recent, what I selected in recent time, management group, subscriptions, resource group, cost management and billing, marketplace, like we have Android store, we have apps, iPhone app store. Similarly, we have something called as Azure Marketplace. So when you go there, you can see so many market players have their applications in the marketplace, and we can use those uh, we can use those applications on a chargeable basis. These all are like, see, this is from Microsoft, and like some other players are also there. See, Barakada Networks. So it gives us this is a web application firewall service for security. And similarly, you can have data lake and Stakeage. So many services are there. So you can just click on create and utilize those services on a chargeable basis. When you click on more, you can see so many applications and services. Like this is from Commvault, Veritas, NetApp. So different vendors are there which gives their services as a plugin, and you can use those services in your application if required. Okay, moving on to management groups. You saw one option there, right? What management groups are. So management group can include multiple Azure subscription. Subscription inherit conditions applied to the management group. In total, 10,000 management groups can be supported in a single directory. Management group tree can support up to 6 level of depths. So what it is saying is we can manage our subscriptions using management groups. Say for an example, I have say 3 different environments and I have 3 different subscriptions for the, each and every environment. So I can manage like who can access which environment and what access level they have and which kind of VMs they can create. So all those things I can manage using the management groups. I'll show you management groups. You can also search here management groups. So as soon as you click the management groups, you can see. So I haven't configured any kind of management group. So it is showing as empty. Otherwise, if I click on start using management group, it will ask me to configure all those settings. Okay, so like this, you can come to management groups and start using your management group services. Core Azure workload products. So what are those? So this is the objective of this, like benefits of using VMs, Azure apps, container instances, Kubernetes services, Windows virtual desktop, virtual networks, and storage things, database things, and marketplace, which I explained you what marketplace is. So what are compute services? Azure Compute is an on-demand computing services that provides computing resources such as disk, processors, memory, networking, and operating systems. As I showed you in the Azure portal, when I go to all services and click on compute, these many, as mentioned in the slide, these many applications or resources are available to be utilized as a compute resources. Next are Azure Virtual Machines. As I showed you the demo of creating a virtual machine, it is also called as Azure Virtual Machines. So Azure Virtual Machines are software emulations of physical computers. So as I showed you like how I created one virtual machine on cloud, it is just a replica of a physical uh, Windows machine which I created in cloud. So it includes virtual processors, as I showed you, the vCPU, virtual CPU, memory, it was like 8 GB, storage like 18 GB, and networking. Okay. IaaS offering that provides total control and customization. As I mentioned earlier, like whatsoever physical devices we can purchase for like our computation resources, it is called as IaaS, infrastructure as a service. So in this service, we have control and customization. Like I choose like what's of CPU, what operating system, how much of RAM, how much of storage, which type of storage. So everything I can control and customize according to my needs. So it is just a walkthrough of how to create a virtual machine. So these are all the steps. And if you want to install a web server, you can also install in that. So I will provide you one link in that, like there is a step by step of how you can create a virtual machine, how you can create a virtual network. So I will place that file in the shared directory which I shared with you all yesterday. Okay. So now, what are Azure App Services? Azure App Services is a fully managed platform to build, deploy, and scale web apps and API quickly. It works with .NET, .NET Core, Node.js, Java, Python, or PHP. It is a platform as a service offering with enterprise-grade performance, security, and compliance requirement. So using in that, you don't need to select like what virtual machine you want to use or how much database, how much RAM, virtual CPU and all. You just worry about which platform you want to run your code. For an example, if you want to run your .NET code, you just provide your code and select the environment as .NET or Java or Python or something like that. I'll just show you how you can create Azure App Service. So you just need to create a app service here and create new. And again, you need to create or select existing resource group. I selected the one which I created recently, and I'm just giving it like demo, demo web app. Okay, demo web app 1.3. So demo web app 1.3 is available along with its domain name like Azure Websites.net. Okay. So once you create it, so like how you want to publish it, using a code or as a Docker container. So for time being, we are using as a code, and here you can select your runtime environment like .NET or different versions of .NET, ASP.NET, Java, Java 11, Java 8, Java 7, Node, PHP, Python, Ruby. So all this you can use it. Okay, so for timing, I'm using Java say 7 in a Windows environment, or you can select, I think it is not enabled. Okay, so you can either click on, so see, you can select here how many ACUs like I'm just forgetting what ACU is, and GB of RAM you want to allocate 8. So you can select everything here and click on review and create. Let it get created. So it has passed the validation, and now, yeah, so see its charges, like for this application, you are going to be charged for rupees 5,259 per month. Okay, so this is the charges you are going to pay for this web application. Okay, and I'll just click on create. One more thing, meanwhile it is getting downloaded, created, you can also create a template out of it. Like every time you don't need to uh, give these parameters, if you have requirement of using the same kind of configuration, you can download that file, template file, and using that file, you can automatically create the same resources. So it is called as ARM template, Azure Resource Manager template. So this application is ready, and these all are its properties. Go to resource, demo web app 13. Okay, and here you can see these all are like its statistics, like how many requests came, how many responses went. So all those things you can see here, HTTP errors, data in, data sent. Okay, so these all things you can do. If you click on browse, this is that URL I showed you, right? Demo web 13 at azurewebsites.net. So now there is nothing inside it. So if we want to like give our code there, so we can automatically provide its data there. So let's just try it. Any doubts till now?
No, Deep.
Okay. So anyways, I will provide you all the steps of doing what I am doing right now. So it is officially from Microsoft only. So see here, hey Java developers, your app is running and time to take the next step and deploy your code. So we'll just go to the deployment center here. So from here you can select your uh, source code, like what code you want to deploy here. So there are like multiple options: GitHub, Bitbucket, local Git, Azure repositories, manual deployment also you can do like from external Git, from OneDrive, from Dropbox. So from these many locations you can select your code, code where you can deploy using this website. Okay. So this is how you can run your website using whatever language you want to deploy your code. Okay, so like when I select this GitHub and the runtime stack, everything I select and I just need to authorize. So currently I don't have any GitHub or code with me. You can just play around it using your own hands-on. Like if you want to go for Java, .NET or some other applications, so you can do like that. So there is one more settings. You can also uh, upload your code using FTSS credentials, like FTP is there, right? So FTPS also you can upload your documents or the source code. So what you need to do is just you need to copy this URL, and this is the username and this is the password, and you can upload your documents there. So let me just show you. If I click on here, it is not coming. Okay, I need to click on run, paste here, click here, coming, I think the explode, paste it, enter, and it is asking for the username and password. So password, I need to go here. Username is this one, and password is this one. So I just give this as login. So we are just logging into the root folder of that virtual machine which we don't see, which we don't manage. We just copy our code here and we can straight away run our application from here. Is that fine?
Okay.
Okay, so now moving ahead, this was all about the Azure App Services.
Deep,
Uh,
one doubt here. Can we do
yeah,
the deployment to web app through pipeline?
yeah, there is an option of CI/CD there. Where it is, when you go here, there is one deployment center. Go to deployment center, and in deployment center there is an option of CI/CD.
Okay.
So see here, CI/CD option is there, like, right? So you
Okay.
can use this. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So this was the walkthrough of like how you can create an app service. Azure Container Services, like there are containers and Kubernetes. So Azure provides these container services as well. So Azure Container are a lightweighted virtualized environment that doesn't require any operating system management and can respond to changes on demand. What are Azure Container Instances? It is a platform as a service offering that runs a container in Azure without the need to manage a virtual machine or additional service. So for an example, like Docker is there, you can use the Docker services in Azure as in the name of Azure Container Instances. And similarly, there is like Azure Kubernetes service. It is an orchestration service for containers with the distributed architecture and large volume of containers. So you don't need to worry about this service because there is nothing to be asked much on this topic on these exams. So if at all you have any doubts, you can just ask me like what this, if you want to like know in deep about it, I will just explain you. Okay, so this is how we can deploy a container instance in Azure. So I'll just provide you that URL. You can do it from your own, like deploying the Azure container instances. Next one is Windows Virtual Desktop. So Windows Virtual Desktop is a desktop and app virtualization that runs in cloud. To create a full desktop virtualization environment without having to run additional gateway servers, publish unlimited host pools to accommodate diverse workloads, reduced cost with pooled multi-session resources. So it is a by default virtual desktop provided, Windows Virtual Desktop provided by Azure, which you can use as a desktop and you can deploy your applications to run inside the cloud. Now coming to the Azure networking services. So inside that we have three components like Azure Virtual Networks that I
Has
showed
left
you,
the
like
meeting.
you can see, right, when I created one virtual machine, there was a networking tab and a virtual network was created by default. Or you can create it by your own. Second one is the virtual private network gateway, which is also called as VPN. Uh, I'll explain you in the meanwhile. And the next one is Azure Express Route. Okay, so what is a virtual network, Azure Virtual Network? It enables virtual Azure resources to communicate with each other, the internet and the on-premise networks. So if you want to communicate within Azure Cloud or through internet to Azure Cloud or on-premise data center to cloud. So for that we need some network. It is called as Azure Virtual Network. Next one is the virtual private network gateway. It is used to send encrypted traffic between an Azure virtual network and an on-premise location over the public networks. For an example, if you want to connect to any of our office network, we have something called a Cisco VPN. Similarly, Azure provides a VPN service through which in an hybrid environment, people from on-premise environment can connect to this Azure environment using the VPN gateway. Next one is Azure Express Route. It extends on-premise networks into Azure over a private connection that is facilitated by a connectivity provider. So for on-premise to cloud connectivity, there is a VPN, but for vice versa, like from
Has
cloud, you
joined the
want to
meeting.
from cloud, if you want to connect to the on-premise environment, there is something called as Azure Express Route. So virtual cloud network, you can create two virtual and test the connection. So this also I will provide you the demo link. What are Azure storage services? So there are multiple types of storage services provided by Azure. One is the container storage or blob, disk storage, or Azure files. So container storage is optimized for storing massive amounts of unstructured data, such as text or binary data. So for unstructured data, if you want to store anything, you have to use the container storage. Disk storage provides disk or virtual machines, applications, and other services to access and use. So we created the one virtual machine and we selected one disk storage, right? So this is used for using inside the virtual machines or applications or any other services to access it or use it. What are Azure Files? Azure Files sets up a highly available network file shares that can be accessed by using the standard server message block protocol. So like how we have OneDrive or SharePoint, using that we can access our files from anywhere from internet. Similarly, Azure Files are something which are available highly in the network, which are basically used for file sharing. Access tiers, like there are three types of accessing. Like you have stored any data in Azure storage. So there are three kinds of access. One is hot access, one is cool access, and third one is archive. So there are three type of data. In your laptop also, there are some things like some of the data which you frequently use every day, some of the data which we use once in a month or twice in a month, and there are some kind of data which we use for like storage purpose, like we have our photos. If we go to some picnic or something, we keep our photos in some hard disk. And whenever sometimes in a year or so we want to see those images, we just take out our hard disk from hard drive from somewhere, like secured location or Almira or somewhere, and see those photos. So those kind of photos which we access once in a year or twice in a year are called as archive storage access. And those data which we use once or twice in a month are called as cool access. And the data which we access frequently is called as hot storage accesses. So we can switch between these accesses anytime. Then you will ask like why this hot access, cool access, or archive access? We can go ahead and straight away keep everything in hot access, but in Azure, everything is chargeable. So if you want hot access also, there are some extra features available in this access types. In case of hot access, Azure creates one cache using which the data is accessible very fast. In case of cool, the data access is bit low, the latency will be there, and for archive, the latency is bit higher. So the charges are different for different kind of storage accesses. For hot, it is high, for cool, it is bit low, and for archive, it is pretty low. Okay, so I'll share this one also, like how you can create a blob storage. Database services. So there are like multiple database services provided by Azure. It's like Cosmos database. It is a globally distributed database service that elastically and independently scales through throughput and storage. So you need not to select like how much storage you need to store the database. It will automatically scale the data, the storage once that throughput is reached. Second one is Azure SQL database, like how we have Microsoft SQL Server and MySQL, Oracle. Similarly, it has its own SQL database. It is a relational database, which is database as a service based on the latest stable version of Microsoft SQL Server database engine. So how we are using Microsoft SQL Server on our servers. Similarly, Azure Cloud also provides its own database engine. It's the latest stable version of MS SQL database engine. It has its own MySQL version as well, and similarly, it has its PostgreSQL also. So, which is also a relational database service based on open source Postgres database engine. So, for all of these database engines, Azure has its own version of database engine. Azure managed instances. So Azure SQL managed instances allows existing SQL Server customers to lift and shift their on-premise application to the cloud with minimum application and database changes. So we have our database installed or configured in on-premises or in our own local data center. And if we want to migrate those data to Azure SQL, then this service called Azure SQL Managed Instance is used to migrate from on-premise to the cloud. So it is fully managed and evergreen platform as a service. It preserves all platform as a service capabilities like automatic patching and version updates, automated backups, and high availability. It also exchanges existing license for discounted rates on SQL managed instance using Azure Hybrid benefits. For an example, you are using Microsoft SQL Server on premises and you already have licenses and you want to migrate to Azure cloud, then you can get some kind of discount as you are already an customer of SQL Server. So it comes under Azure Hybrid benefits. This also I'll share you the links. Marketplace I already showcased you. So this is the overall review of today, recap of today's session. Like what we discussed today, we discussed about the regions, its global presence over 60 regions and more than 140 countries, Azure management tools, multiple services like compute, networking, storage, and database, and Azure Marketplace. So anyone has any doubts, you can ask me.